Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a review of the James Charles X Morphy palette, and I'm going to test out which side is better, the side that I used with eyeshadow primer and the side that I used with concealer, because James said in his video that it is better to use an eyeshadow primer. I have personally never used one until today, so I wanted to test out that theory and see the pros and cons of each, if there were any differentiation. And without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So I've already had a chance to play with this palette before, but what I have not done is try the primer versus the concealer. So I'm going to test that out today and see if I notice any difference whatsoever, and let you guys know what the difference is if I do notice any at all. So on my left eye, I'm going to be using the Morphe eyelid primer. I've never used an eyelid primer before, so I'm interested to see what this does. And then with my right eye, I'm going to be using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, which is my usual method. So first, I'm going to take the orange shade. I will pop up the name right here so you know which one it is, and pop that right in the crease area. I'm going to do the same on the concealer side. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but already what I've noticed is that this side is more pigmented than this one, and I have used the exact same amount. It's also been a little bit easier to distribute the color on this lid versus this one. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go in a second time with this lid. Remember, this is the one I did concealer with. Next, I'm going to take the medium brown shade in the palette and kind of deepen that up just a little bit. So this side doesn't want to blend practically at all. It may be a little bit to see. I'll try to zoom you guys in a little bit and show you what I'm talking about, but it's kind of more difficult to blend on the concealer side. And the product doesn't want to move. Where I place it is kind of where it's stuck. And the blendability is pretty difficult. Okay, I think that's as good as it's going to get. Now I'm going to take the M535 brush from Morphe, and I'm going to dip into the shade right next to the orange shade that I used. Again, I will pop up the name right here so you know which one I'm referring to. And I'm gonna kind of buff that out right on and around and just above the orange shade. Okay, so basically what I'm noticing so far is that this side I kind of have to do a little bit more double dipping. I have to dip into the color more to get more color payoff. It's also a little bit more difficult to blend, and I'm actually really surprised because I've always used concealer on my lid. This is the first time I've actually used a primer, so I'm not sure if it will act the same way on my other palettes and other eyeshadows that I use, or if it's really just this palette specifically. But every shade that I've dipped into has surprisingly been a little bit more difficult to use on this side. My experience personally, I am preferring the side that I use the Morphe eyeshadow primer on. Now I'm taking the Morphe M56 brush and I'm going to take the red color right underneath my waterline. And now with the brush, not adding any more product that I've dipped into an orange shade with, I'm going to lightly buff that out just a little bit. Now with this really pretty shimmer color, I'm going to add that to the inner corners. Now with the shimmer color next to the red, I'm going to pop that right on the lid. With that same brush, I'm going to take the lighter shimmer color on the opposite side of the red and just pop that right in the center. And now I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and I will be right back. And this, guys, is the finished look. I hope you like it as much as I do. As for my thoughts about the palette and what the difference was between the primer versus the concealer, I will say that the primer side definitely worked a little bit better when it came to blending and actually even the pigmentation. When it came to pigmentation and the blendability on the concealer side, it was a little bit more difficult to blend out the color, and I am really surprised about that because none of my palettes that I've ever used before have I ever had that issue. I've always used a concealer, so I'm wondering if I will notice any difference with any of the other eyeshadows and palettes that I have when I do use a primer, since I do have the one from Morphe now. I'm really excited to see if there is any differences or if it is just this brand specifically. As for my thoughts about the palette, I think the colors are absolutely gorgeous. This is the second time that I have dipped into this palette. Before I did a purple look, you can see that on my Instagram, and kind of a little tutorial on Instagram of how I achieved that look. The link will be in the description, as well as all of my other social medias. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I cannot wait to see you guys in my next one.